Hello, everybody. Thank you for giving us 45 minutes of your Wednesday morning, evening, or nighttime, depending on where you are in the world, to go over how to use Pinterest Ads Manager and learn how to get started on the platform or advance your expertise if you're already using Pinterest. Today, I, joined by Jill and Morali, are going to go through a couple of different topics to walk you through how to get started on Pinterest and learn to use our Ads Manager and build campaigns and analyze your performance to better your business results across Pinterest. We're going to go through five main things today. First one's going to be an overview of Ads Manager, basically a one-stop shop of how to manage campaigns and analyze performance. Two, we're going to go through how to plan your campaigns, how to think about advertisements, how to tie them back to your business goals, and really understand how to leverage Pinterest to help grow your business. Third thing we'll go through is Jill's going to walk us through how to actually execute your campaign setup. This will go through some really great features that we have on the system around new Performance Plus features that allow you to really easily implement campaigns. Then we'll go through how to analyze performance after you've launched your campaigns to determine what's working well and what needs to be optimized. And then finally, Morali will walk us through best practices on how to advance optimization support and things like that for your campaigns to get the best results possible. All right, first thing that we're going to go through is an Ads Manager overview. What is Pinterest Ads Manager? I think the easiest way to think about Pinterest Ads Manager, it is your central one-stop shop to manage all of your advertisements and your advertising ecosystem on Pinterest. Within Pinterest Ads Manager, you can create advertisements, you can run them in different types of campaigns that instruct the system in terms of what you want to accomplish for your business. You can manage them, so you can target different audiences, add different advertisements, look at performance, and then finally you can report on how those ads are resulting in business outcomes for your business. How many sales have you made? How many clicks to your website have you received? And it really helps you plan your overall media strategy on Pinterest to get the best results on the platform. First thing that we wanted to go through is kind of a level set in terms of how Pinterest advertisements get structured within our system. And this will really help you understand how you're going to build out advertising campaigns within the Pinterest Ads Manager ecosystem. So when I think about campaign structure and ad account structure on Pinterest, I think about them as kind of nesting dolls. Those nice little dolls that you can open up and they fit inside one another until they get so small that it feels like there shouldn't be another doll inside of a doll. That's kind of feels like what the nesting structure on Pinterest feels like. At the very biggest doll, the top umbrella section, you've got your ad account. This ad account will have all of your different pins. It'll have your organic profile. It'll have, an account feed if you have products on your website. It'll include all of your tracking, basically everything you could possibly have. On that ad account, you can also launch multiple campaigns. Campaigns are different types of advertising objectives that you can launch to run specific products, specific goals that you might have for your business. You can have as many campaigns as you want underneath your ad account. Within each of those campaigns, ad groups are nested. You can kind of think of ad groups as subcomponents of those campaigns. So you might have an ad group within one of your campaigns that's trying to acquire new prospected customers versus an ad group within that campaign that might be retargeting customers that you already know exist within your business funnel, for example. And then finally, within those ad groups, you'll have individual ads. And the ads are really conceptual. They look just like Pinterest pins, very similar to organic pins. Those are the actual images with links to your website that the users will actually see on Pinterest. So they all kind of nest underneath one another. And then finally, that's also where data is stored. So our system is really smart and it thinks algorithmically. If you were to launch a new ad group, for example, it's going to use campaign data that it has stored. So it'll use the most accessible data that it has to optimize itself and get you the best results on the platform. All right, most important piece that we're going to go through next is how to plan your campaign for your business. We think about this in four different segments. The first thing that I want all of you to think about on this call is think about your business. Think about how it makes money. Think about how you run it structurally. What are your goals as a business overall? Good example is, maybe you sell things online. You've got products that you sell, you ship them out from your website. Your business goal is probably to sell products on your webpage. Maybe you're a beauty brand, a CPG brand, consumer packaged goods, and you sell your beauty products in local stores. In those situations, the business goal might be a little bit different. Your business goal might be to sell things to those stores and making sure people know where to go to the stores to buy your beauty products. Versus if you have, maybe some of you are, online editors or run online magazines, for example. In this case, your business goal might be to get people to read your articles, sign up for a newsletter, or subscribe to your newsletter overall. So the first thing I want you to really think about is how does your business make money? And that will help you determine what your business goals for advertising are on Pinterest and across other channels within your ecosystem like Meta or Google. Next thing that we want you to think about is once you've defined what your business goals are, you can then align those to goals using the SMART technique. Those are specific, measurable, accountable, realistic, and time-tabled goals. So in this case, maybe you're running a 6-month advertising test on Pinterest, trying to accomplish and find women aged 18 to 24 to buy a product on your website. From there, once you've defined what your overall goals are, that will help you define what your campaign objective is. The easiest way to conceptualize what a campaign objective is on Pinterest is an objective is simply what you are asking the system to accomplish. So for example, if we think about objectives on Pinterest, you've got your standard customer journey over here on the right side in those purple. First thing that we'll do is we will get people to be aware of your brand, that you exist. Next thing that we'll do is we'll drive consideration. So once they know that you exist, they might explore your website, learn a little bit more about your brand. And then finally, when they get to the bottom of the consumer funnel, they'll actually convert and buy something or sign up for your magazine, your newsletter, or go to the store and actually purchase something. So we've aligned all of our objectives to fit with that consumer journey. And these objectives simply tell the system what you want it to accomplish. So under build awareness, you are simply telling the system that you want it to reach as many people as possible. I want you to get my ads in front of a wide variety of individuals so that my brand can be known, essentially. In drive consideration, you're simply telling the system that you want people to click on one of your ads, go to your website. So you're trying to drive clicks. And then finally at the bottom, getting conversions, you can run and tell the system that you want it to go find conversions or sales on your website. Those could be sales. It could be telling the system that you want it to go and get a person to give you a lead, give them your email address, for example, or do something on your website. And then finally, if you'll notice that there's brand awareness video completion on the top and then conversion catalog sales. In both of those situations, you're telling the system the type of creative that you want to use. So in catalog sales, it would obviously be like a product-based pin from your feed. And then conversion campaigns would be a video or a static ad. And then finally, once you accomplish all of those, you can actually set out key performance indicators, KPIs, that allow you to assess if a campaign ran really well or if you need to optimize. So for example, if you're running a consideration campaign, maybe you're spending $6,000 and you want a 50-cent CPC. So you'd want to drive 12,000 clicks to your website across the course of that campaign. So you can get really specific to understand what is working and what's not working across Pinterest. All right, let's put that into practice. So using that process, let's go through a couple of scenarios. Let's say the first one, you are an online brand that sells things via your website. This would be a really classic situation where your business goal is going to be to drive purchases on your website. Your media objective will obviously be online sales. In this case, you would want to use lower funnel objectives, trying to drive sales on your website. So those would be conversion campaigns, catalog sale campaigns. And your key performance indicator might be something like, I want to spend $10,000 and make $20,000 in sales. So that'd be like a 2x ROAS. Spend 10,000, make 20,000. Or spend 5,000, make 10,000. If you are a online magazine, for example, or like a newsletter, maybe you want to generate qualified leads for either like online or offline purchases if you're a beauty brand and you sell things in store, for example. So in this situation, what you might be trying to drive is email subscriptions. So getting people to subscribe to your email newsletter so that you can send them insights when your beauty products hit a new store, for example. In this case, you might be trying to get conversions for leads. So your goal might be to spend $5 to get one email sign up. So it'd be a $5 cost per lead or a $5 CPL in the industry. Another good example is maybe you want to drive in-store traffic for your retail locations. Maybe you're a manager of a bunch of grocery stores, for example. You want people in the community to know that you exist. So you're trying to get as many people in the community aware that your brand exists. So you're trying to get a really good uh, reach of individuals or impressions. This might look like saying, I want to spend $5 for 1,000 people to see my advertisements. And then finally, let's say you are that online magazine, for example, and you want to increase the signups or registrations that you have on your website. In this case, it might be, I want to spend $7 to get a person to sign up or subscribe to my newsletter. And that could be a situation where you're running lower funnel campaigns, but your goal isn't to drive sales, it's to drive somebody that might want to give you your email address so you can reach out to them in future. So this is really how we want you to think about the initial setup of understanding how to drive ads and impact your business. Define how you make money. That will help you define your goals. Use that goal to define exactly how long and what you're going to run. That will help you define the objective that you run on Pinterest, or telling the system what you want it to accomplish. And then finally, that will help you determine what your actual key performance indicators are, so you can assess if you are performant or need optimization on Pinterest. And with that, I'm going to send it over to Jill to talk about how you can actually build this into a campaign structure and how to leverage Pinterest products to be really successful.
Thanks, Jared. Okay, so now that you understand how to identify your business goal, campaign, objective, and KPIs, we are now ready to build your campaign on Ads Manager. So let's move into section 3, this webinar, where we will take these concepts and apply them step by step during campaign creation. So now that we have our strategy locked in, it's time for you to actually execute a campaign in Ads Manager. When you go to set up your campaign, you'll see an option designed to make your life much easier, which is the Pinterest Performance Plus suite. Using Pinterest Performance Plus campaigns brings our very best AI and automation capabilities right into your campaign creation workflow. It is designed specifically to optimize ad delivery, improving your overall targeting, and maximizing your efficiency, particularly for lower funnel campaigns. By toggling this on in Ads Manager, you are streamlining your execution. And in fact, it requires 50% fewer inputs to create a campaign. So it is much more streamlined and much easier for you to set up. On average, we have seen that advertisers that use Pinterest Performance Plus see a 20% improvement in CPC or CPA, so cost per click or cost per acquisition, compared to their standard manual setups. A common concern that we do hear in the industry is that automation has a fear of losing control over execution. You might be familiar with this switch where we have moved from manual campaigns to a more automated workflow. But with Pinterest Performance Plus, we like to say that you are getting automation with control. When setting up your campaign, you still control the full strategy. You have manual sets for your campaign objectives and KPIs, define your total budget and flight dates, and you upload your own creative core messaging and exclude geographic locations that matter to your campaign. What you are handing over to the platform are the tedious tactical optimizations that you would make on a day-to-day. Our system will automate real-time bidding adjustments, audience targeting, and expansion, and it will improve placement optimization across the platform, budget pacing, and even creative rotation. You set the guardrails, and our Ads Manager does all of the heavy lifting. So what does that actually mean for your day-to-day campaign flow in Ads Manager? It means that you get strategic control paired with tactical automation. So first, it drives efficiency, reducing the time that you spend manually optimizing campaigns by over 50%, like I mentioned. Lots of time saving, lots of ease of use. And then ultimately, it allows for scalability. So you can make more campaigns and test more strategies without adding hours to your workday. So if you're looking to run multiple campaigns at the same time, or you're looking to scale your business, it is a huge time saver. And most importantly for us and for you, it delivers the best performance. This yields the same or better results with significantly less manual work. We know that advertisers that are looking to spend money might have small budgets, might have large budgets, might have medium-sized budgets, and we want you to see the best results possible. So when you activate Pinterest Performance Plus campaigns, it transforms 4 key pillars that you'll see here into your Ads Manager setup. The first one on the left is your targeting. So like I mentioned, instead of manually guessing which keywords or interests to select, our system actually uses visual search technology to understand the context of your pin creative that you upload. And we then automatically serve that to relevant users, expanding your reach automatically. They'll identify a pin, look at some of the visual search technology, understand what users might be interested in it, and then serve that to the best user. The second one is bidding. Our system will dynamically adjust your bids in real time to help deliver the best results and outcomes on the platform. So you're not needing to go in every day and change your bids. The third is budgets. So we efficiently distribute your budget across multiple days during the life cycle that you set. So you set the dates, we deliver the budget. And finally, fourth, creative. Like I had mentioned, we actually improve your creative and automatically create shopping and collection ads directly from your product catalog. This saves you a lot of creative production time and uses a lot of our AI and automation tooling to improve the delivery to get to the right consumer. So as we prepare to actually build our campaign, let's take a look at the paths that you can take. Like I mentioned, historically in the industry, there was a move towards manual setup, but we have now moved into offering Pinterest Performance Plus, our automation on the right. On the left side, you'll see the traditional manual setup. This requires you to manually pull every lever across 6 distinct steps, including defining your own targeting and bidding strategies. That means that you have to go in day to day and make sure that your campaign is delivering efficiently. However, on the right, you'll notice our recommended path, the Pinterest Performance Plus setup. Notice how much shorter the list is. Because this suite automates your targeting, bidding, and optimization, you actually only need to provide the core inputs, your buying objective, your budget, and your creative. Our system then handles all the heavy lifting for you. So instead of just walking through these steps in theory, we want to show you exactly what this looks like in practice in the platform, because we know that's why you're all here. So to do that, we are going to build a campaign together right now using the Pinterest Performance Plus setup. And I'm actually going to pass it back to Jared, who's going to do a step-by-step demo.
Thank you, Jill. Okay, great. I am going to share my screen. Dun, dun, dun. And Jill, can you give me a quick verbal shout out when you can see my business hub?
I can see it.
Okay, perfect. All right, team. This is my personal employee account. So just a heads up, I've run an ad for the last couple of the last week that goes over and allows us to actually look at how to set up a campaign, how to review analytics and performance. And we'll go through all of Ads Manager right now live. I actually saw two individuals pop in some chats that they wanted to see both Performance Plus and manual campaign setups. I'm going to go through a Performance Plus setup. I will also give a quick visual of old manual campaign setups. And then I also saw that someone is running or has a pet sitting business that wants to drive clicks to their website. So that'd be a situation where you define the KPI as clicks to your website, which is excellent. Let's say you want a 60-cent CPC, cost per click. I can kind of use that as a performance lever, mostly because my ads are dogs. So that is a perfect crossover. All right. When you first log into your account, after you build it, the landing page that you are going to land on is going to be your business hub. Kind of think of this as your starting point. This is going to be where you can launch into any area of Ads Manager to build out your profile or help build your ads. So under this little section on the top left, you're going to have Business Hub. There will be this little 3 parallel barred hamburger that allows you to open this up and you can navigate to a bunch of different sections of Ads Manager. First one in this create content section, this is where you can either create pins organically or create advertisements. So this will be where you can actually add things to your business. It includes creative optimization features such as like adding text overlay, uploading different images. You can create collages or different types of ads. So this is a really great place for you to start and build really beautiful quality pins on your platform. Second one in the middle is manage campaigns. This is where you're going to do all of your advertisement management. So this is where you're going to build campaigns. This is where you're going to look at reporting, for example. You can do a bunch of different media planning things in here. Really great location. This is where I spend most of my time when I'm doing campaign work with advertisers. It's kind of the central point that you will use to optimize campaigns and build campaigns. Fourth one in from the left is analyze performance. These are going to be different locations for you to look at analytics. We break this down from like top line analytics, things like how many people did you reach, how many impressions did you get, how many clicks did you get, all the way down to conversion indications. So like how many sales did you get or leads did you generate across your website. It will also include other things like Pinterest trends, which we'll take a quick peek at. And that's actually going to be next month's webinar. So you can actually look at trends that are happening across the entire Pinterest ecosystem. And then finally, manage business on the far right side. This is going to be things where you like set up billing, build audiences, or set up tag information so you can track things on your website. We're going to spend most of our time under the Manage Campaign section and the Analyze Performance section. So the first thing that I'm going to do is show you guys how to create your first campaign. Click Create Campaign here, and it is going to drop me into the campaign creation flow. Me, I am not an entrepreneur necessarily. So I've got a website that I've grabbed. It's just a Substack. So I'm going to run a consideration campaign in this situation. Consideration campaigns tell the Pinterest algorithm that you want the system to drive you clicks. So it is going to get you the most efficient cost per click or the most clicks it possibly can for your budget. You can see here, I've got the optimized campaign. This turns on Performance Plus, the features that Jill just talked about. And I want to run a Performance Plus campaign so I can get the best performance possible. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give my campaign structure a name. If you guys remember, the campaign is kind of that top layer. I consider it the skeleton of the campaign. It's all of the structural pieces. The first thing I'll do is consideration. We'll say Wiley, spread joy, March 2026. Wiley is the name of my parents' dog who passed away last year, and he is the focal point of my advertisements. Second one is the ad groups. The ad groups, if you remember correctly, are the section underneath the campaigns. You can have multiple ad groups. I consider the ad groups kind of like the muscle of the campaign. It's where, all of your targeting details and any sort of demographic details will live, including locations. So in this situation, maybe I'll do consideration, Performance Plus, Wiley, CPCs. That's my KPI. Next thing I'm going to do is I can set a campaign budget. There are two different types of budgets. First one is daily. So if I wanted to spend maybe $100 a day, for example, I could set it as a daily budget, or I could set it as a lifetime budget. Let's say I want to spend $50,000 for over the next 6 months, for example. I'm going to set a daily budget in my case. We'll set that at $100 a day. And then I can set start dates and end dates. End dates are optional. So this would run for a specific 1 month period. I'm actually going to delete this. And I'm going to say that I want to run a always on campaign. And then finally, I'm going to add campaign goals. So I can add a custom goal metric here. This is simply allowing the system to understand what it wants to accomplish. It doesn't set any like specific distribution limitations or anything like that. It's simply instructing the system what you want, and this will help the system tell you if it's succeeding or not succeeding. So I'm going to put in a cost per click goal here of let's do 75 cents. And then just kind of give everybody a reference point. That would mean that my overall KPI in this case, if I want a 75-cent CPC and I'm spending $100 a day, my rough goal would be to get about 133 clicks per day, just to kind of give you that reference point of setting a business goal that aligns with like an overall KPI, key performance indicator. From here, I can add a promotion if I wanted to. Promotions are really fantastic. They allow you to actually create a specific one here. Let's say if you're selling products online, I could do something like spring cleaning promotion. And then I could set a start date. Let's say it starts on April 1st and goes through all of April. And then I can say it's either like a conditional promotion, a discount promotion, a shipping promotion, and then I can select details in here. So maybe it's like up to X% off, you get plus free shipping, for example. So this allows you to build promotions. So you can actually display them on the advertisements in the Pinterest feed to get you some beneficial engagement with those posts. So promotions, very cool feature. Finally, I'm going to add in targeting details. For a Performance Plus campaign, the targeting is handled for you. The system will automatically learn who the best audiences are based off of my pin description, my pin image, the landing page, the board that it's on. Highly, highly, highly accurate. The things that we can do with Performance Plus is I can set either location inclusions or exclusions. So for example, let's say I can't ship to Hawaii. I can put in, I want to exclude Hawaii as a state that I would show ads to. That means that nobody in Hawaii will see an ad. Make sure that I'm not wasting dollars on distributing ads to individuals who I can't actually service, for example. And then finally, we have ages in here. Ages are 18 plus, 19 plus, 21 plus for performance plus campaigns. So obviously like 21 plus would be like maybe an alcohol brand. 18 plus would be if you're targeting anybody that is an adult, of course. And then all ages, I'm going to put that in for now. And then finally, last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add ads. In this case, they're just pins. So what you'll do is you'll select pins, or you can create an ad if you don't have any pins created. And then you can see over here on the right side, I've got 4 pins that I created before this webinar, 4 dog pins. And I'm going to select those, add those in. And then from here, it's going to give me an estimation over here on the right side of what I could expect in terms of CPCs. So you can see I'm expecting to be between like a 29 to 57 cent CPC. It'll give me 174 to 348 clicks per day. And then this also updates dynamically. So let me show you guys this really quick. If I edit my budget, perfect. Let's say I want to spend $10,000 a day. In that case, my efficiency will probably, it takes a lot more to deliver $10,000. So my CPC expectations went up, for example. So it'll give you really good abilities to kind of estimate and media plan what this campaign could theoretically do for your business. Wonderful. And then from here, I would hit publish, and that would launch my advertisement. It would get started right away as soon as it gets approved by policy. And then we'll go through reporting next. If I wanted to do a traditional manual campaign, which is no longer the recommended approach, but if I was to take Optimize Campaign off here, you will notice it takes all of the work and it makes it so that you have to switch over to the individual ad groups, and all of your targeting then becomes significantly more detailed. So I would have to put in interest in keywords, for example. I would have to select age demographics, and you can do all of that here. How you would do that is you would toggle this optimized campaign on and off. The recommended best performance is to leave the optimized campaign toggle on. This performs, I believe, is about 10 to 18% better based off of our current ad metrics. All right, wonderful. Once you launch your campaign, I am going to jump over to ad reporting. All of the campaigns that you launch will show up here. This is your ad reporting page. Very shortly, it's going to turn it into Campaign Manager, just a name change, but that's going to happen next month for everybody on this call. In this section, this gives me a really good overview of what my campaigns will look like. I've got date filters up here on the top left. I can add extra filters if I only wanted to see like active ads, or if I wanted to look at certain campaign objectives or ad statuses, I could add in filters. That will control all of the different information that lands down here in the table. Over here is a chart. In this case, I've got spend and impressions, but I could change it to like CPM, for example, or click-through rate. So that changes your chart up here on the top. And then down here, you've got a really nice table. So this table has every metric under the sun. You could look at basically any metric that you can think of. We've got it in here. There are a couple of different ways to make this table a little bit more digestible. Over here, there's a dropdown under this table. It's currently on delivery. You can see delivery is a lot of our top line metrics. So we're talking like how many impressions did you get? How many clicks did you get? Those sorts of things. And I can change this between conversions and things like that. You can also edit your columns, so you can take things out and make it much, much simpler. And then finally, we've got ad groups, the things that are nested underneath campaigns, and the ads that are nested underneath the ad groups themselves. And then you can kind of get a little preview here. Other areas, before I toss it over to Murali, you've got your analytics overview page. This is going to be both paid and organic ads, or paid or organic posts. So you can look at top line engagement, impressions, clicks over time. So a really nice page for you to see both organic and paid information. You can get conversion insights for those of you that sell things online. This will give you like ROAS estimations and add to cart estimations. And then finally, last thing we wanted to touch on is Pinterest trends. So Pinterest trends will give you an overall insights into things that are growing and trending across Pinterest. This is not just your advertising account. This is Pinterest overall. This can really help you define maybe different strategies that you have for creative development and things like that. There's going to be a whole webinar on this next month run by the same team. So definitely attend that if you want more information on Pinterest trends. Okay, wonderful. I am going to jump back. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to pass it over to Murali to go over Pinterest best practices.
Thanks, Jared. Hey, folks, I'm Raleigh. Let me make sure that I tab over. So we're looking at the right section here. Um, let's talk about best practices. This is going to be our section right before Q&A. And now that we understand the mechanics of our platform, I'm going to shift us to the inputs that you're going to control. So we'll cover how to fuel the algorithm with the right data, why your creative strategy is now your most powerful targeting tool, and how to effectively measure success. So with that, let's compare what happens when Pinterest Performance Plus, our first best practice being leaning into automation using this feature, is turned on versus turned off. So when it's off, advertisers often fall into two traps. First, over-targeting, which excludes high-intent users, and second, fragmenting your budget across too many ad groups, which can lead to inefficiency. Instead, when you turn on Pinterest Performance Plus, our algorithm solves both of those problems. It fluidly targets those high intent users that you'd have otherwise missed, and consolidates your budget to learn faster, drive down overall costs, get you that better ROI. Beyond automation, the second best practice is creative is your primary lever for targeting. Our visual search technology works best when it quickly understands your pins, matches those to relevant users thereafter. So, as a best practice, aim for 10 or more diverse assets per campaign. And by diverse, we don't mean uploading 10 images of the same shoe, right? Try uploading a mix of shoes, shirts, accessories, lifestyle shots, product shots. The more variety that you give the system, the more it can test and learn to match the right visual to the right user. Thereafter, your tracking is critical to feeding the algorithm. So measure the right conversion events so that we can help drive more of those high value actions. There are two important areas here. The first being tags. Ensure your Pinterest tag and API setups are granular and healthy. Specific events like checkout, add to cart, those go further than just page visits. On the second side, look at catalogs. So you can maintain a high fidelity feed with lots of metadata. The more data you provide us, the better our AI understands your inventory and can match that inventory to user intent, getting you the right users, getting you those sales. Lastly, you want to align your business goals and marketing objectives to the right measurement solutions. So let's say that your business goals to increase revenue by 10%. Your marketing objective in pursuit of that goal is to acquire new customers. To see if you're acquiring new customers, you want to leverage measurement sources like web analytics, conversion lift studies, foot traffic analyses. By reviewing what those measurement sources tell you, you can determine if you're on track to acquire new customers to grow revenue in turn. To wrap up, here are four key steps to set yourself up for success when creating campaigns in Ads Manager. First thing, start with your KPIs. Align your business's KPIs to the specific funnel stage and objective that you're targeting. Second step, clean data inputs to feed the algorithm so it understands what you're selling with granular tracking and high fidelity feeds. Third, trust the automation. Solutions like Pinterest Performance Plus, they help drive stronger results. They avoid introducing risks like over-targeting or fragmented budgets that you can run into with manual creation. And then finally, four, analyze the results. You want to monitor those core metrics with reporting. So look at things like interest breakdowns, see what drives conversions, and this way you can inform further creative development with those learnings. And I just want to say thank you all so much for your attention today. So if you could please scan the QR code on the screen to fill out a brief survey. We will also send a follow-up email with today's recording and additional insights. I saw that question popping up a couple of times. And since we did cover a lot today, we're going to take a few minutes to answer some questions that people submitted to make sure that we're addressing those too. So the first one here is going to be for you, Jared. Which types of businesses tend to see the strongest results on Pinterest?
Good question. Um, every business type can succeed on Pinterest. We've seen success from, endemic fitting brands like online apparel brands, for example, all the way to business brands. So it just depends on how well you design your creatives to speak to the Pinterest audience. I think the best way to think about it is pinners are on Pinterest, both for inspiration and all the way down to taking action. So really tailor your creatives to capture somebody's interest and intention when they're on Pinterest looking to be inspired or to find a solution to something. So whatever you run, if you're an online magazine, if you're a business to business brand, If you run a dog sitting brand, if you're a beauty brand, if you're a apparel brand, I think every business I've seen succeed on Pinterest. And it just really goes into how you speak to your customers with authentic and really high quality advertisements. But yeah, any business brand can be successful on Pinterest.
Awesome. Next question. What are the basics of using Ads Manager to set up and launch a campaign from start to finish without needing an agency? Jill, you can take this one.
Yeah. So Ads Manager is really just designed for every advertiser, from small businesses with just one employee. You could own your own business like Jared and be a singular employee, or you could have 1,000 employees at an enterprise business. It is really not just for agencies. You can set up Pinterest Performance Plus campaigns in just a few minutes. It can be, again, a singular business owner, it can be an agency, it can be a large business, and we will guide you step by step in Ads Manager.
Awesome. I'll take this question. So, how do you define and size your audience effectively within Ads Manager? So, Jared walked through the campaign creation and setup process. And in that process, you can define your audience based on your business objectives. So, you're able to select different characteristics, you're able to emphasize ones that are more or less important. And as part of that flow, you'll see this media planner tool that we present within that flow. It estimates potential results, shows you audience size based on those settings that you've selected. So you have an idea of kind of, hey, what are my sort of choices impacting when it comes to reaching and defining the right sized audience? I see a second question on targeting. How does Pinterest targeting work, including demographics, interests, and keywords? Like I mentioned, each of those characteristics are really just telling our AI and targeting settings, what are the user characteristics that are most important to you? So we take that info, the inputs that you're providing, and then we use that to help inform where your ads are showing to which users. And to make that process easier, we highly recommend using Pinterest Performance Plus targeting. That helps you find the most relevant people without having to do a ton of legwork and segmentation. The next question, how many ads should you have ready before launching a campaign? I'll hand it off to you, Jill.
Yeah, so we recommend you can run as little as one ad, but we do recommend running as many as possible. Our best delivery results do come from campaigns that run around 10 or more. And I did see someone also in the chat asked about static versus video. We recommend dynamic creation. So if you have video, if you have static, run both. And our recommendation is to run at least 10.
Awesome. I see a question. Does repurposing content from ad platforms work effectively on Pinterest? Jill, go ahead. It's all you.
Yeah, so similar to the static and video question, we want all of your ad content, regardless of where it comes from. The best part about our algorithm and running Pinterest Performance Plus campaigns is that we will rotate all of that creative and we will try to find the right users. Like I mentioned again, with the visual search technology, that will allow our system to find the right user and to identify what creative resonates best with the targeting that you have with Performance Plus. So the more you feed your campaign, the better the delivery results will be.
Awesome. Jared, I got a question here for you, which is how should small businesses prioritize their budget across different campaign types?
Oh, great question. And I'm going to bundle that together with a few other questions that I'm seeing in the chat. For example, like tell us more about budgets, especially conversion and catalog budgets. What's a good starting budget for a small business? Great question. And then how much does advertising cost? So I'll kind of bundle all those questions together. Overall, when we think about budget prioritization for small businesses, especially, there is no minimum that you have to spend on Pinterest to qualify for Performance Plus or to qualify for advertising. You could spend $1 a day if you wanted to. The best way to think about budgeting in the system is how much is it going to cost to teach the system how to get the best results for your business. So for example, if you are a brand that is selling jewelry, let's say, that's a common one, and you're trying to sell $1,000 necklaces, you'll probably have to spend a little bit more to teach the system how to get those conversions if you're trying to get a conversion-based campaign running. So the test budget might be a little bit more in terms of budget. And then if you're running a CPC-based campaign, the system will learn pretty quickly how to get clicks. So oftentimes what people will do is they'll run what we call a full funnel strategy. So they might run a little bit of awareness to make sure that people are aware of their brand. They might run a little bit of consideration campaigns to make sure people are clicking off to their website so that they can see things on the website and learn a little bit more about the brand. And then they might run a lot of lower funnel campaigns like shopping campaigns and conversion campaigns to actually drive business results. Oftentimes when we see that, we recommend people spend about 70% of their budget on their core business goal. So that might be like 70% of their budget on catalog sale campaigns and conversion campaigns, maybe 20% on those middle funnel consideration campaigns, getting people off to their website, and then about 10% to have really nice awareness distribution. So there's no minimum that we see be successful on Pinterest. Larger budgets will teach the system a little bit quicker, so you might get out of learning phase a little bit faster. But it's a really good strategy to spend a little bit of your budget across the entire objective full funnel strategy, focusing really heavily on what your primary business goals are.
Awesome. I have a follow-up for you as well, which is let's say you have a catalog with 200 plus products, the budget of $20 a day or less. How should a small business decide what to promote?
Oh, good question. Okay, so with product-based catalogs, you can set those up either yourself through like a feed partner, which would be a partner where you actually upload your feed and then that feeds it into Pinterest. Or we have lots of different integrations like Shopify, WooCommerce. So if you used any of those to build your website, there are Pinterest integrations for those brands, or I'm sorry, for those e-commerce sites that will automatically ingest all of your products into Pinterest for you. When you do that, we suggest using Pinterest Performance Plus catalog sale campaigns, and then you can use all of your products in those catalog objectives, and the system will learn which of those products perform best and slowly start to distribute those products more and more to individuals so that it will improve your performance over time. So if you've got about 200 plus products, budget of $20 per day, that is fantastic. The system will learn how to deliver that most effectively, and then you will advertise all of your products in a single Performance Plus catalog sale campaign.
Great answer. I'm seeing a couple questions about what are considered like effective budgets or the right ones to be selecting when you start. I'll take this one, which is your budgets should be fluid. So you can think about if you have a specific amount of marketing budget that you're using over a given time frame, maybe you used a fixed budget over that duration. If you want to look at a daily approach, you can see based on our reporting tools, am I hitting my KPIs? Are things working well? If so, I can scale up my investment. If things are inefficient, you can scale down. Generally, you want to make sure that your budget is reflecting, to Jared's point, your willingness to pay, and also reflecting the kinds of products or services that you're selling. I also got a question, which was, what's the best way for someone completely new to Pinterest to start advertising? We have a ton of coursework on Pinterest Academy. So if you go to pinterestacademy.com, you can get started with courses, videos, webinars like this. You can review them at your own pace. You can kind of see everything that is being tailored for someone who is just getting started. We also have advanced coursework there too, if you want to get a little bit more nitty gritty into how Pinterest advertising looks. I think we're right up against time. So with that, I just want to say thanks again to everyone for participating, and that will wrap up our webinar. Thanks again for joining us. We'll send a follow-up email with a recording. It was a pleasure.